the structure of the cell. This is a continuation of our last topic on cell. The structure of the cell is what we are going to be discussing today. What does the cell consist of? The cell, the totality of the living component of the cell is known as the protoplasm, which is divided into two. We have the cytoplasm and the nucleus. What's the cytoplasm? The cytoplasm consists of the cytosol, which suspend the cytoplasmic organelles. So in the cytoplasm we can find the cytosol and the cytoplasmic organelles like mitochondrion, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, and some other organelles. And of course, the nucleus is the central organ of the cell that controls every life activities of the cell. It also stores the genetic materials of the cell. Now, I've talked about the total components of the living components in the cell. What about the boundary of the cell? The cell is bounded by a double bound membrane, a double membrane structure known as the cell membrane or the plasma membrane or the plasmalemma. What's the cell membrane? The cell membrane is a double membrane organelles that bound the cell. It acts as the boundary of the cell. It differentiates the intracellular and the extracellular components, and it also acts as a semi-permeable membrane that determines what goes in and out of the cell. The cell membrane forms the boundary of the cell. The totality of the living component of the cell is the protoplasm, which is divided into the nucleus and the cytoplasm. Okay, now what is found in the nucleus? The nucleus, as I've said earlier, is the central organ of the cell. It consists of two things. In the nucleus of every cell, either plant or animal, we have the chromosomes. The chromosome is responsible for storing the genetic materials that is transmitted from parents to offspring. Okay, and these genetic materials are stored in the form of DNA, which is called deoxyribonucleic acid. Also in the nucleus, we have the nucleolus, which helps or functions in the ribosome synthesis. So in the nucleus, we have the nucleolus and the chromosomes. In the cytoplasms, we have the cytosol and the cytoplasmic organelles. So that's a summary of the structure of the cell. Alright. As we all know, we have two types of cells. We have the plant cells and the animal cells. What are the differences between the plant and animal cells? Yes, we have a lot of similarities between them, but there are some little differences that differentiate the plant and the animal cell. For instance, in the plant cell, you have the cellulose cell wall that acts as another membrane that protects the plant cell. Whereas in the animal cell, cellulose cell wall is absent. In plant cell, you have the chloroplast, which contains the chlorophyll, which is used by plant for photosynthesis. It is absent in animal cells. Another difference is that animal cells does not have a definite shape, while plant cells have a definite shape. In plant cells, the nucleus is not centrally located. In animal cells, the nucleus is centrally located. These are differences in plant cells. Okay. Now we'll be moving very quickly to the functions of the cell organelles. I'll start with the nucleus. I've said earlier, the nucleus controls all life activities of cells. It contains genetic materials. The nucleolus is the site for ribosome synthesis. The chromosomes is responsible for storing the genes, which contains traits that are passed from parents to offspring. The mitochondrion, which is found in the cytoplasm, is the powerhouse of the cell, because in the mitochondrion respiration takes place, respiration which is needed for energy production. Energy is produced in the cell in form of ATP. We call it adenosine triphosphate. This process of formation of energy occurs in the mitochondrion. Also, other cell organelles, we have endoplasmic reticulum. We have two types of endoplasmic reticulum. We have the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, which does not have ribosomes. We have the rough ER, which has ribosomes. What's the function of this endoplasmic reticulum? They are involved in intracellular transports of materials within the cell. We have the Golgi apparatus, or in some textbooks you see it as the Golgi body. What's the function of this organelle? It helps in synthesis, it helps in packaging It helps in distribution of organic materials within the cell. We also have the ribosomes. Ribosomes help in protein synthesis. We have the lysosomes. Lysosomes are sites for respiratory enzymes. We have other cell organelles like centrioles. The centrioles are bases for cell division. They help in cell divisions. We also have the cell wall, which is found in plant cell. It helps in protection. It provides shape, mechanical support to the plants. The cell membrane acts as a semi-permeable membrane that determines what comes in and out of the cell. Okay, these and many others are functions of the cell organelles. Thank you very much for listening. On our next topics, we'll be talking more on cell and its environments.